the moment has arrived. The return of Rocky. We got Leon Rocky Edwards facing off against Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. And I remember the name, man. I always have, man. This is a big opportunity for your boy, man. So first and foremost, I want to say this. I don't want to sound harsh on this. I don't want to sound like I'm out of touch with what the MMA scene is or whatnot. But I do think there's a lot of out of sight, out of mind for Leon Edwards, as I alluded to earlier. And I think Belal Muhammad's style is literally going to play right into the best possible path of victory for Leon Edwards, which is counter-striking. He's one of the best counter-strikers in the game. And Belal Muhammad, we've talked about this before just in our own kind of text messages, right? Pressuring someone is one thing. Not backing off a little bit, not stepping off the gas and changing up your timing and mixing it up. That's another thing, man. Like, Belal Muhammad is in your face all day long, and it's going to be similar, I think, to the Song Yadong versus Kyler Phillips fight, where Yadong just walked forward the entire fight, and while some people are like, well, he's leading the dance, look, he's pressuring, it's like, bro, you're walking into shots left and right, everywhere you go. I know you're going to walk in, here you go, all right, cool. And Leon Edwards, man, you look at his fight against RDA, you look at it against Gunnar Nelson, who's a karate fighter, you look at it against Cowboy Cerrone, who is the perfect partner, that's all he did the entire fight. Cowboy even said, hey, middle of the octagon, what's up? Let's bang. And Leon Edwards was like, yeah, how about you come on over here? He walked in, counter strike. It's like, all right, it's the easy bread and butter, man. So that was my little rant. I'll conclude now. How can Belal Muhammad make this fight interesting, especially knowing that his last fight was on February 13th against Diego Lima, and he ate over 20 plus calf kicks, that his leg was mad beat up, man. I don't know. I think he's still partially compromised, personally. He says it doesn't matter. Big opportunity. Give me some thoughts.
I think he took this fight for a payday, man. Because I agree, that's a hell of a turnaround for getting your leg beat up by Diego Lima like that. Because that was a lot of leg kicks he was eating. Personally, though, man, you sound like you're real high on Edwards, and I gotta ask how are you so high and the MMA fans not? Because Leon Edwards, he's big, he's well rounded, and like you said, he's mean in the striking, and he can drop some people with those counter shots, and he's on a 8-fight win streak. How is everybody so disrespectful to Leon Edwards? Yet, he has a lot going for him, is what I'm saying. He has that 8-fight win streak. Personally, to me, though, not less than half have been notariable or opponents of Notre. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like the paper's there, but not necessarily the substance for me. And I think that's a lot of why I'm going against Leon Edwards personally. But I don't really know, man. This was a hard one to me because when I think of Leon Edwards, I don't really think of action-packed, fun fights. What do you think of when you think of Leon Edwards?
Well, first, let me answer that question of why I'm so high on him. I'm high on him because I'm not the fair weather fan who just sits there and watches like what's been happening recently. And let me be honest. Let's both answer this honest question. If one of your favorite fighters got 3-pieced and sewed it up, you know what I'm saying, and didn't do anything about it, would you be high on him too? Probably not, right? You'd probably be like, bro, you just sat there. It's just like Gordon Ryan. I don't know if you're familiar with the big jiu-jitsu scene. There's this other dude, another BJJ guy. He was talking a bunch of mess, and he just got smacked literally twice. Like, this dude just open palm just smacked him twice, and he did nothing about it. He lost a lot of stock, even though he's a high-level BJJ player, right? Same thing, man. Leon Edwards, come on. And is he this action-packed fighter? Yes, he is. But is he looking for the knockout every fight? No, because he's very happy counter-striking you away. And if you look at the Cerrone fight, Cerrone was super bloody at the end of that fight. You look at the Gunnar Nelson fight, I believe Gunnar Nelson was super bloody in that fight. You look at the RDA fight, I believe he was super bloody in that fight. And you want to know why? It's because Leon Edwards is a master of counter-striking and dropping elbows in on you off the break and dropping elbows in the ground and pound. So that's why when I think of Leon Edwards, I think of a precision fighter that lends to high-level damage because he's thinking precision over power. And we talk about it all the time, right? Timing beats speed. And then the other one that beats power, I don't remember what that is, but you know what I mean. Beats power. There we go. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, so that's why. Now, let's talk about, though, how I want to talk about this legitimately. How can Belal Muhammad win this fight? And my thoughts and my impressions are you got to be busier than him the whole fight. And that's something that he can absolutely do because we see his pace is relentless. So what do you think? What can Belal Muhammad do what's his best path to victory?
Yeah, sorry for getting on a tangent, not answering your question there, Derek. And I do think that's exactly it. I think Belal Muhammad, no matter what, he's just going to have to walk in the water and get wet. He's going to have to eat a couple shots, keep that pressure, and literally just keep going, no matter what, because history has shown that Leon Edwards isn't the KO one punch dropper. You know what I'm saying? So you're able to at least catch five.
Sure.
You may not want to catch five, but you're able to actually walk through the shots. And I think the only way Muhammad is going to have to get this upset is by showing that he's not going to just back down from Edwards. He's not going to worry about the counter strikes. Even if he does get touched up, he's going to keep walking through, and he's going to put a hurt and a pace on Edwards that isn't really that he's never seen before. You know, he's been out of the ring for what 600 some days, like you were saying, and I think what Muhammad needs to do is weaponize pace. Take a note out of the GSP book and just weaponize pace, and not just walk Edwards down like Song Yadong did to Kyler Phillips, but actually weaponize pace in the fact that he's taking him down, holding him down for a little bit, get up, put him on his fence, put him back, keep walking, and keep mixing up the levels of the whole fight, from the striking to the ground game to the clinch. You know, actually make it something interesting instead of just, I'm going to walk you down, you're going to walk back and counter strike. Because at that pace, Leon Edwards is going to just have an easy night sailing, man. But if Muhammad is able to actually mix it up and make this a mixed martial arts event instead of just a standing and trading kickboxing match, I think that'll be his path to victory.
Oh, I hear you, man. I hear you. I do just want to point this out just because I think that there's these impressions that we're getting, man. I'm just like, man, I went back and I watched the fights. Like, I watched all these fights. And if you talk about Edwards not fighting people of notoriety, man, I believe that his last five is much more impressive than Belal Muhammad's last five. You got RDA, Gunnar Nelson, Cowboy Cerrone, Peter Sabata, and Brian Barberena. And Belal Muhammad, you got Diego Lima, not Douglas Lima, Diego Lima. You know, you got older brother, Lyman Good. You got Takashi Sato, Curtis Millinger, and Jeff Neal. And while those are all impressive opposition, I just don't think it's quite as impressive as Leon Edwards' last five. And nonetheless, I just want to point out that when Gunnar Nelson fought Leon Edwards, his game plan was, I'm going to push Leon Edwards up against the cage and I'm going to take him down. The same exact plan that I believe Belal Muhammad is going to have. Strikes up against the cage, go in, shoot for the double leg, shoot for the single, get him on his butt and do that. And Gunnar Nelson, who is very high level, I believe he's a BJJ black belt, he got it put on him, man. That game plan completely backfired. And the reason why is because Leon Edwards has a 70% takedown defense. He has really good takedown defense, and he has a knack for getting on top of you in the sprawl and then dropping you with mean ground and pound. His ground and pound game is very underrated. And 47% striking accuracy, going backwards or forwards, very similar to a Jonathan Martinez, man. It's going to be an interesting one. I will say this. I just think that this is a better narrative and this is a better story than the actuality of how this fight is going to play out. And it's similar to, Adesanya versus Blachowicz, right? The story was much better than how it actually played out. And when we saw it, we're like, okay, probably knew this was going to happen. I mean, this is a big boy facing off against a 185er. So what are we talking about here? But nonetheless, man, while we, the clock is ticking down, we're under 2 minutes, so we can get some fight of the night picks in. Give me your pick on this Edwards Muhammad fight and why.
Now in this one, Derek, I'm going completely against the grain. Okay, I'm going Muhammad by decision, just because I had to throw a wrench in the chain, man. I had a wild toe on this one. You know what I'm saying? Wild hair, and I think the upset's gonna happen. I can't really give you an exact this is why and this is exactly why I think that. I was just going over the notes, and personally, I just had a feeling on Muhammad by decision. Who you got?
So I'm just going to go the opposite, right? I'm going Leon Edwards by decision, but I'll tell you this, man. It's not like you're making a bad pick or you're making a reckless abandon type pick, because Leon Edwards has won 9 of his 18 fights by decision. He's won half of his fights by decisions, and Belal Muhammad has won 13 of his 18 fights by decision. So these are two decision fighters who are going to duke it out, man. It'll be interesting to see. So obviously, tune back in on Monday, folks, so we could talk about what actually happened, right?